Welcome back to Doxologic Table Talk. It's a joy to be together. Pastor Scott, as always, man, how are you?
I'm doing great. Excited for today. We have our very own
Yes.
Pastor Zach, pastor of Next Gen with
Yes,
us.
indeed.
I love that title.
Come on, man.
Somebody
Yeah.
sent me a picture of Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek and was like, do you have to dress like this now that you have this role title?
Next Gen.
Do I want to? Yes. Do I get to? No.
Even you have your limits,
Yes.
right? Even you got your limits.
Exactly.
You're going to dress as Captain America before you're going to go probably Star Trek.
You know, if I could dress as anybody, I would love to.
My son
But
Colton knows you as Zach. Zach is in Captain America? Yes. Zach Attack.
You're going to be known for something. That's pretty good.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Well, we're not here to talk Marvel this today unless you're going to take us there later, but we are here in an area of specialty and passion of yours, and so why don't you take it away, man?
Totally. Well, for those that don't know, I actually, my grad school degree is in organizational leadership, which it's not theology. Granted, my undergrad is.
Yeah.
So did a double, but biblical theology, pastoral ministry. But then from there was like, I really want to supplement that foundation and gain some good skill that I think is going to really help as I jump into the church or wherever it may be, because I didn't quite know where my life was going to go yet. But yeah,
And that's a
organizational
story
leadership.
in and
That's a
of
story in and of
itself.
itself.
Yes.
We don't have the time for that one, but
Maybe one day.
How we got
Maybe
him
one
in.
day.
How we got him
How
in.
to discern your call
Yeah.
in life. That
How to
should
be
be a good
persistent.
episode.
Yeah, two
that
different
too.
episodes.
Totally.
Anyway.
So with
yeah,
that,
yeah.
the idea of self-development in addition to leadership, they kind of go really well together. As you lead people, you want to develop them, you want to equip them so that way they'd be able to be a better individual in whatever field they're in or on your team. And I love it because it's so universal. Like self-development is something that everybody ultimately needs. Like everybody needs to be equipped. Regardless of the field that you're in, your passions, your pursuits, you need to be a better individual. So like, do you want to be better and do you want to enjoy more of life?
Right.
Yeah, right.
I think the answer is yes. So most people want to be developed in some way, shape, or form. And when I was thinking about like my biblical foundation for this, because I think self-development can go all sorts of weird
that can
ways.
sound immediately like it can even
Yeah.
throw ooh,
Real
what
quick.
does that mean? Yeah. Right.
Or it's just highly self-focused.
Like the self-help kind of thing is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of, right?
Totally. And so my foundation for it is less like, I've got this one verse, but it's almost like this network of, we see this strong emphasis of stewardship in the Bible. And stewardship is this combo of like freedom and responsibility. God gives us as image bearers the freedom to represent him on this earth and to do that in a variety of different vocations, using a variety of different skills and talents. But there's also the real responsibility of like, I am supposed to rule God's creation alongside him and to represent him. So like I should probably be equipped to better represent his glory.
And he doesn't put us in anywhere fully developed, right? So we need to develop. You call it maturity,
Right.
call it growth, all of those
Exactly.
things. Spiritually, for sure, but professionally, gives us capacities and aptitudes. But we are to grow
Yeah.
those, and that's what
The
you're-
purpose of the church,
Self-
Ephesians
yeah,
4,
yeah,
is
sure.
that we would grow into the mature image and stature of Christ.
1 Timothy 4, Paul tells Timothy what? Grow, progress in these things so that all can see that development, right? He's supposed to grow in the things that he was entrusted with. So,
Totally.
yeah, you see examples of it. You see a theology of it. Yeah.
You see this idea of like what we do now is preparation for later. Like it's almost like this is minor league moments that lead to major league responsibilities. Like isn't that Paul's perspective in 1 Corinthians 6 where he's like, you guys can't handle disputes? Like you will be judging angels. Can you not take care of what you need to do right here, right now?
Time to step up your game today
Yeah.
in preparation for that day.
Totally. So that's kind of my framework for it.
Okay.
So as I was asked to come here and thrilled, I was like, hey, what do I talk about? What do I do? And I was like, hey, one thing self-development wise that I think would be important for anybody to know is essential tools to be a developed individual. So that's what my category is for this.
Okay.
Essential tools to be a developed individual. I got 3 of them, as always. Gotta have go in
Yeah, if
threes.
you're- yeah,
Go in
100%.
threes.
It's almost like a sermon,
Totally.
but shorter.
Are you alliterating or are you not alliterating?
I'm not.
Good man. Good
Well, it's
man.
not a
Let's get away
sermon.
from
Yeah.
that.
It's not a sermon,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
Maybe that's
Chris
because
will let it slide.
In a sermon, you got
maybe that's what comes with the MDiv. Maybe
That's
the alliteration. I
that's that
missed
one
It's a
that
whole
part.
class.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
that
it's a
class you
multi-unit
missed.
class.
It's that class you missed.
So here's my 3 tools. Everybody needs a scheduler, a task manager, and notes. So I'll break
Okay.
those down. Scheduler, task manager, and notes. These, I think, are essential tools that you need because they tackle categorically different things in your life. Everybody needs a scheduler for your agenda. You live a life, you need to know what you need to be prioritizing, what you ought to be doing. So a scheduler is something you need. I'll be kind of working from like the framework of the iPhone. So that way, anybody that's got an iPhone, you know like what native apps on your phone do this. But if you're Android or whatever, there's tons of things that you can use.
You can translate this.
You could totally translate this. So your calendar is your scheduler. Like, how do I make sure that I break down my schedule into different blocks that are focused on different areas, whether it's the work tasks that I need, the things that are portioned out for family time, whatever. Like, I need to live my life to an agenda. Otherwise, I'm not being a good steward of the time God's given me. So that's my first one, scheduler, and that would be your calendar. Second,
That's also kind of a redeeming the time sort of idea, right? Out of
Totally.
the book of Ephesians as well. Versus letting life just merely happen to you. You have some intentionality behind it.
yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
even
good.
just the theme of a sloth,
Yeah.
versus a guy who's going to be wise, right?
Yep.
Wise with his time.
Well, Proverbs, I'm pretty sure, talks about like imitating the ants. Like work like an ant.
yeah.
Like you got to throw
read that
down
this morning.
and be ready to roll. So yeah,
Right.
totally. Okay, so calendar, scheduler, you need that. Task manager. Everybody has tasks that they need to do. And if you don't keep track of those tasks, you fall behind really quickly. And so if you have an iPhone, reminders, it looks like the little checklist thing. That's the native app that you can use. And these, you essentially want to free your brain up to not have to remember the things that need to be done. So like, here's a great example. I got my little registration form in the DMV and filled it out. And then they sent me the little, the registration slip and the sticker. Like, I should not have to remember when I need to put that on the car. My phone should tell me. And if my phone tells me, then I don't have to worry about like me dedicating the brain space to do that. So whether it's like replacing your water filter, putting on your registration tag, the actual tasks you need to do, like you got to send those specific emails, you need to follow up with those individuals, you have projects with steps, like those things should be laid out so that way you free brain power to think about the strategy and what you need to do. But your phone or your tech will tell you like what immediately is like on the docket, and then you can queue it up however you would need.
And
Yeah.
if I could add one to that,
Yeah.
if you're married, sync that puppy up
Totally.
with your spouse so
Yep.
that you've got multiple lists. I mean, groceries could be an example, but also, my wife and I, Noelle, we've got like a weekend reminders list. And so as we think of things on a Tuesday that we need to do on a day off around the house, it's like one of us is going to put it in, set a reminder Friday morning or something to go off. And we may not get it done Friday morning, but it's reminding us, right? We got to get it done. And
Totally.
It's just, and you can repeat stuff monthly, weekly, whatever. It's
And I
very,
highly
very
recommend delineating what's work versus what's personal.
Yeah.
So like I actually use a fundamentally different app for my personal or family tasks
same.
versus work. So that way
Right.
they don't like on a Saturday morning, I'm not realizing that work is interfering with Sabbath or whatever it would be.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And it's good as a Christian in general, too. How many times have you been at church and you've said, I'm going to pray for you? And then
Yeah.
you zone out and you forget. And you're like, dang, I wanted to pray for them, but I just didn't remember. That's one of those quick, hey, put in your phone, hey, I'm going to pray for you on Tuesday morning. Siri,
Yep.
send a reminder, that kind of idea. It just will help you be faithful to things you say you're going to do.
Yep, totally. Make it a task. Last one is notes. So this is almost like this is the wild card. It's versatile, but here's two ways that I think people don't use notes that they ought to use their notes for. One is the reason why I think it's essential is it's like the catch-all. Like some things aren't tasks, some things aren't agenda items. So what do you do with it? You should just write it down. So like notes is great for that. But I use my notes app as the main folder, like notes on the notes app in the iPhone is like, I shouldn't have anything there. Like it's literally like it's a queue of I've collected all these random notes and they should either become tasks, become agenda items, or just something should be done with them. But like they're like the temporary space that things land for the moment. The second way I use it though is templates. So here's the deal. If you find yourself, and whether it's work, home, whatever, if you do regular processes, I think like taxes, like all the forms you got to fill out and stuff, if you send things regularly, you should create templates for those things. So like any of my work stuff that's regular, like I'm constantly talking to DOCSIS student volunteers. I have never typed a new email up in years. Like it's been a single template that I edit from time to time, but it's stored on my notes, and therefore it's accessible on my phone, on my computer, wherever it might be. So that way I am freeing up so much time. I'm not typing the same email 500 times. I've only typed it once, and now I've been exporting it while modifying it if I need to.
Build that out just a little bit.
Give me a sense of template.
Yeah. So a good example was I send notification to volunteers for like, hey, I heard you're interested in Zaks students. So I actually
type that out in the notes?
Type that out in notes.
And then copy it and paste it into email.
The email.
Okay.
Or if it's a text, like I do follow-ups with if anybody has missed a few weeks. And of course I have a section in my templates where it's like freestyle this.
Sure.
Because it's gonna feel really inauthentic if it's like, oh, Zach's not actually checking in with me. This is just like an automatic message. But it's like, no, there's a portion that I handcraft, but there's a bulk section that is standard. And so I want to make sure that those things are the same across the board. Another example of that would be like with the processes, like when you move, you have to update your address across like everything, the DMV, Amazon, all that stuff. So it's like having a process as a template where it's like, I need to check all these things off. You're no longer thinking, oh, did I change my mail subscription for that one thing? And then you miss a bill. And then like it leads to a bigger problem. Sure. Like you should make sure you never have to think about those things. Your phone should just tell you. But obviously it takes the time to invest on the front side to make that happen.
That's fascinating. I love it.
It's
a really good idea.
Yeah,
you can do some of those templates on email as well, right?
Totally.
You can like set your Gmail, and I've done that before, and that's really helpful. But it's just the idea of not having to redo it every time. Again, a brain space thing, right? You're not having to create that from scratch again and say it in those words. And when you're communicating merely information, like you said, you can personalize it so it doesn't seem flippant or like people will just blow that kind of a text message or email off, but there's the personal side with the consistent information.
Totally. Exactly.
You're making me productive. I'm
doing what I
scared.
can. Can I give one bonus one really quick?
Oddly going to bring up a bonus one.
No one's had a bonus category.
You should go
was-
first.
well,
I talk so much. You should go for it.
I just was thinking of it as you guys were talking there about Gmail is what we use.
Yeah.
So I use drafts and I'll save some stuff as templates, right? Just don't put any name in there and then just save it. So same idea as using notes.
I use notes because I got to go across text message everything.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking email specifically.
That's a helpful distinction there, though.
Totally.
The scheduler, the email scheduler on Gmail is clutch in terms of when I write it versus I frankly am not going to want to see a response to this until maybe tomorrow.
Yep.
Or maybe it's like Saturday and I know I need to get to this person, but I'm going to schedule it for a Monday send.
Yep.
But if like recently I went out of town and it was the last day for a full week and I wanted to empty my email to the best of my ability. So I had everything go out at 5 o'clock.
Nice.
So I wrote it at 8 or 9 a.m., had it all go out at 5 p.m. So my autoresponder was on by the time I sent it so that I was just going to check out, and just an example to free up that space.
Beautiful.
And I worked a lot more efficiently that day because I knew I had taken care of my emails, but I wasn't going to take care of the quick reply.
Yeah.
That was going to make me feel like I had to likewise give a quick reply. It's just an example.
That's worth if you ever get to have me back. But the idea of like boundary setting within your text / other things is huge to help you think and focus.
What was your bonus category?
So my bonus one is this one. You don't have a free one on your phone, unfortunately, but I mentioned scheduler, task manager, notes. Here's the fourth one that's also really helpful: time tracker. So
I thought you were going to say time traveler.
Ooh,
because that's not free.
That'd be great. That would not be free, nor does it exist.
Sorry, time tracker.
Time tracker.
Okay.
So unlike your agenda, which tells you what you plan to do, your time tracker tells you what you actually did. So here's a great example of this. You may have scheduled however many minutes for me to be here, and your schedule reflects that. Your schedule's not telling you in real time how long you're spending with me right now.
Sure.
And that can be a really big problem when like you've hit like 3 weeks back to back where you're like, where did the time go? Like I've spent so much time at work, but I can't seem to tackle my workload. Well, if you track your time, you'll be able to see like where it actually is going. And so this is actually a discipline that I pulled from Peter Drucker. He's the father of modern business, as he's known. But either way, he used to track his time for a week at a 15-minute interval. Like, what am I doing every 15 minutes? This is not because I'm trying to one up. I do it for 2 weeks. But I do it for 2 weeks every year with a cool tool that helps me keep track to the minute what I'm doing. And the app is called Hours. So if you're on iPhone, look up Hours. It's free. It's actually used by companies to do like time card punching. But you get to set it up. So I set up the system to keep track of emails, sermon prep, counseling, text messages, other bulk admin, time with my wife, sleep, eating, travel. Like I put all those things in, and I literally just tap it when I start the task and tap it when I end. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I have a report on where I spent my time, and I can compare that to my agenda. It's really helpful.
Touche, Peter Drucker. Take that.
2 weeks, not one.
Minute, 2 weeks. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
I'll see your
We
weekend
got
on
Zach in the house. Doxologic Table Talk.
There we go.
Come on,
Thank you
it's
for
worth
that
your
bonus,
money.
Zach.
Totally.
Super helpful, man. Really appreciate that. And I'm not, I know you're not either, Scott, surprised that this guy would just be able to nail such a subject like this, self-development, that kind of discipline, and you get more done than pretty much anyone I know.
Thanks,
man.
Appreciate
In a week, and I've learned a lot from you for that. So
With great joy, probably in part because of these wonderful tools that you are using.
I'm so happy.
As I'm doing this,
saved my time by all these tools.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's evident and encouraging, and just for so many that you minister to, the way you keep yourself organized when, as your ministry is building out, you have been every part of all the things, and so for someone who understands that weight, just really grateful for what you put into it, and we'll probably have to have you back, because I bet this one will stir some things where it's like, okay, I need to take control of that portion of my life and leverage it for greater usefulness for the Lord.
Well, I appreciate that.
Good
I'm
stuff.
blushing. I feel so pleased by you guys. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for being here.
You've been listening to Doxologic, a podcast by Doxa Church in Rockland, California. To learn more, visit doxachurch.net.